Today I've got the H&Y Revoring Black Mist filter here, a filter which can literally change sizes. So we'll take a look at the Revoring design, we'll take a look at, of course, the mist filter itself, and we'll draw some comparisons to other mist filters I've tried, as well as some other quick swap filter systems. So let's get into it. Alright, so Revoring came out a while back as a spring-loaded adjustable size step-up filter, so that way you could use that single step-up filter on a range of different sized lenses instead of having to bring along and remember a bunch of different sized step-up rings, which is always a hassle, so pretty cool. They also had a variable ND option, which came with their own variable ND filter built into it. Again, pretty cool. And now there's this version with the mist filter built in. And a mist filter is a very popular filter that kind of gives this little bit of a bloom to light sources in your frame, as well as to kind of soften skin and give that overall kind of pastel cinematic type of look. And it's a very popular filter for both photo and video. I'm obviously using it now, and the mist filter version is the version we're going to take a look at today. But first off, a quick 1-minute demonstration of how the Revoring system actually works. In the kit for just over $100, you'll get a soft case and the Revoring with a non-detachable mist filter. This comes in two size ranges. Here I have 67 to 82 millimeters, great for full frame wide aperture lenses, and they will also apparently have a separate magnetic mist filter that you can attach to the front of their variable ND version if you have that. And in the future they'll have magnetic ND filters to put back onto the front of this mist filter version as well, so options galore. Anyway, just twist the filter to close down the size of the screw threads. These are metal and overlapping, so they won't leave any gaps for light leaks. Place it in front of your lens and let go. It'll snap tight, and just give it a little bit of a turn to finalize that tightness. It doesn't get quite as tight feeling as a normal filter, but it is on there. Now this metal front and rear cap are sold separately for about $25, and the front felt lined cap just snaps on magnetically, and you'll put the filter onto the rear cap as if the cap were actually a lens using that spring-loaded design. These caps are extremely protective, and they're a nice add-on if you're going to be taking this out with you a lot. So now let's just take a look at a few sample shots and see how this mist filter looks in comparison to other mist filters. Then we'll finish this off with a couple of quick comments about this versus some other quick swap filter systems, and of course a couple of complaints just to keep this balanced and fair. So I tested the filter this way because I've seen in the past a strong backlight can become really overwhelming with mist filters, and I'm happy to see that while the backlight in this picture is definitely picked up as a kind of flare looking effect on the left side, it's not overwhelming. Exposure hasn't changed much either. Looking at the same shot with the Tiffin 1/4 Black Pro Mist filter or the K&F 1/4 Mist filter, you can see the effect is much more intense. The same goes for the mist filter from Freewell, which is actually the base of their mist/variable ND combination, and in that case the image is also noticeably darker. Looking at them all side by side again, even after taking away that strong backlight, you can see the effect of the halation around the lights in the back also differs in the same way. Zooming into 100%, there's really nothing to see. The H&Y mist filter has no effect on sharpness, and neither do the other filters, and I've tested this from 24mm up to 105mm. At 24mm, we might see a slight vignette coming into the corner, but in real use, I never found it to be a problem. Alright, so this is my talking head shot, which obviously has some strong backlighting in the past. I've seen with other mist filters that backlighting can really create quite an intense effect, and sometimes it can be overwhelming for situations like this. So I'm curious to see how this handles this particular shot. So obviously you see now without the filter. I'm on a Sony 24mm f1.4 lens. Let's get this on and see how it looks. Alright, so there it is. This is the Revoring with that mist filter in there, and I can see that it does, of course, have that misty effect, but I do feel like it is not quite as intense as the K&F Concept mist filter and the Tiffin Black Pro mist filter that I've tested not too long ago. So I'll throw up a couple comparison shots here maybe of those two filters in this particular setup so you can see how it compares, but I think this is really quite a nice level of that mist effect without being overkill. Okay, so technically this is a screw-on filter, but because of that spring-loaded design, it's just about as quick as a magnetic filter system, and the benefit of this is that you don't have to keep that magnetic base on all of your lenses in order to use it. I love magnetic filter systems. They're quick and easy, but needing to rely on that magnetic base ring can cause annoyances, and it also does mean that not only do you have to have that on all of your lenses to swap out filters, but if you have different sized lenses, you do still need to rely on step-up rings. The magnetic systems can be quick while you are using them to go between one lens and another, or one filter to another, but when you want to completely remove them, they still kind of get in the way more than this system does, which just completely removes all in one simple twist. With this quick twist but yet screw-on type of design, I found there are basically two things you want to be careful for. One is that as you twist this and then put it towards the front of your lens, if you have a lens with a front glass element that's pretty large or pretty out towards the edge of that actual lens, so close to those filter threads, you want to be careful when you put this to the front of your lens, so that way these filter threads on here don't hit or scratch that actual front glass element. The second thing is that once you twist this down, you can of course just place it on the front of your lens, but to twist it you do need two hands, so you have to put your camera down or have it on a tripod or a strap first, twist this, and then you can hold it in place with one hand, simply put it onto the front of your lens and you're good to go. But you do have to put your camera down once in order to twist this to put it on. But generally this is very, very quick and easy to use, and I've really enjoyed it instead of having to remember which step-up filters to bring or which I forgot, or if I even have that particular one that I need. Even when I was doing comparison tests with the other mist filters that I had, for those I did have to use step-up rings, and just being able to grab this and put it on whatever lens I was using to test it with was just so much faster and easier than having to dig out those step-up rings, and I really did feel the convenience of this over traditional filters and step-up ring system. But complaints, because nothing is perfect. The most annoying thing is weirdly that the metal caps magnets are crazy strong. It feels unnecessary, and it's actually a little bit difficult to take it off, especially if you already have this attached to a lens with that metal cap on. In particular, a zoom lens with an extending barrel that maybe has a little bit of wiggle to it. Just trying to pry that magnetic cap off is manhandling the lens a little bit more than I feel comfortable with. So what I've been doing is just taking off that filter before I even put this onto my lens, and it's been absolutely fine. But if I had to choose a complaint, that's complaint number one. My other complaint is just more so something that you do have to get used to, and that's that after you put this onto the front of your lens and let it go so that way it snaps tight, you do have to turn it just a little bit more to get it tight. But since it is spring loaded, if you keep going with it, it will keep turning, and that spring will just, resize to adjust for the extra tightness. So you have to kind of get a feel for, okay, there we go, that's as tight as it should be before those springs snap back into place. So it's a little bit of a different experience screwing this tight after you spring it on there. But I mean, it is on there, so you can see I'm holding this just by those threads, so it's on there securely, even though it doesn't quite feel as tight as you might be used to with traditional filters. So overall, I really, really like this, combining the fact that I can just use this one filter with any size lens pretty much that I have in my collection, together with the fact that the mist filter itself is a little bit more of a subtle effect than other mist filters I've tried in the past. I've really felt that I can use this more, both because of the Revoring system and because of the mist filter itself, than some of the other lenses filters that I have. Plus, I think it's pretty fairly priced when you compare it to the competition, and I really think that I might be just about ready to go all in on this Revoring system, either picking up one of those variable ND versions or picking up the step-up ring, so I can just use this as a better option to traditional step-up rings, or grabbing some of those magnetic filters that you can add onto the front of this, or maybe the variable ND with the magnetic mist filter to put on the front of that. Some combination of these filters or step-up ring systems, because it's really been just such an easy thing to only bring out this one filter with me and know that I can use it on whatever lens I have on that particular day, no matter what the size. Really, really convenient system. Really, really nice looking mist filter here. Overall, I'm very satisfied, and I'd highly recommend it if you couldn't tell already. But if you do have any remaining questions or comments, things that I missed, please let me know down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thank you for watching.